All right, so welcome everybody. I am sitting here, and I think I figured it out. I think I'm supposed to point this way, but I am sitting here with Lucas Norat. He is a brown belt from GB Chandler, formerly of GB Awatuki, and he has multiple fight to win victories. I think the last time when you fought here in Phoenix, you beat a black belt at no gi, even though you're a brown belt. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And a couple of things to know about Lucas. So he is literally the guy that signed me up for jujitsu. So when I went into the school and I was like, all right, I want to do it, he was the guy that like sat down and said, all right, here's all the stuff, and got me all signed up. And the second thing to know about Lucas is he takes literally the worst pictures ever. So the picture he took me for my attendance card, I will admit that I was way out of shape and I was super fat, but it made me look even worse. Like it made me look like I had like 7 chins and like my gut stuck out to here. Like when I got promoted to blue belt, I asked professor if he would change it because it was such a terrible picture. So thank you, Lucas.
Yeah, man. Don't blame the cameraman though. Blame the model, man. Come on. It's not my fault, man. I just held my phone up and took the picture.
I agree. I didn't give you much to work with, so I'm okay with that. So again, thank you for joining me, Lucas. So for those of you that don't know who Lucas, tell us a little bit about your jujitsu game, whether it's kind of your style or kind of people that you try to emulate, that sort of thing.
For sure, for sure. Hey, so Eric, again, thank you so much for the opportunity of being here. Talk a little bit about my story. I really appreciate that. So again, for those who don't know me, I'm Lucas Norat. I'm a brown belt under Professor Flávio Almeida. I'm originally from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I moved to the States about 3 years ago to start like teaching and training at Gracie Barra Watuki, and then eventually I moved to Gracie Barra Chandler. That's where I am right now. So I'm currently a Gracie Barra Arizona ambassador. Actually, I was for the last 2 seasons. So one of the Gracie Barra's top athletes in the States. I compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments since I'm 15 years old, so that's about like 7, 8 years. I've been competing at jiu-jitsu tournaments. I was able to get a few good titles like Brazilian Nationals, South American Champion, now under IBJJF, a few opens here and there. Also a few big like tournament that I placed like on the podium. Like Brazilian Nationals no gi, Brazilian Nationals a few times. So yeah, so I've been like competing in jiu-jitsu for a long time. My style is kind of like more like a takedown and guard pass guy, even though like lately I've been trying to pull guard a lot and work on like some lapel and beating bolo. I think like you can never be like just one thing. Back then it used to be just like, oh, you're a guard passer, you're a guard player. Right now I think people always gotta have the mindset of trying to be really like well-rounded and know like get good at everything. But of course, me being like heavy and strong, I always like to take down, pressure pass, 30 out the pass. That's more of my style. So yeah, this is me.
Yeah, it's tons of fun to have you on top of me. It's a good chime. So thank you for that.
Thank you, man. My pleasure. Don't worry about it. My pleasure.
So how did you get into jiu-jitsu? I think your father he's a black belt, is that right?
He's a black belt. So I got into jiu-jitsu. Like when I was growing up, I always heard about jiu-jitsu. My dad, when I was born, my dad was like a blue belt or a purple belt, something like that. And he had to stop training. As soon as I was born, he had to stop training. But he always like talk about it like at home and stuff. I even did judo when I was like a little kid at school. I did judo. And he always say like, hey, when you get older, you're gonna do jiu-jitsu. But I never actually got like into jiu-jitsu, got even like I went to a school, but until the time I was 13, my dad was back training, so I used to go with him to watch him do it, but I never actually got on the mats. And again, like I said, he was a purple belt. But then something happened, like I was being bullied at school. I was an overweight kid, and I was being bullied at school, and I have this like really big kid. They want to like beat me up, basically. He like threatening me and stuff. And then was winter break in Brazil. Winter breaks in July in Brazil because the seasons are different, right?
Yeah.
So it was winter break in Brazil. The last day of school, he told me that whenever we came back from winter break, he was gonna beat me up. And then I was gonna go spend like the winter break, the whole 2 weeks with my dad, right? So I'm like, okay, I did like boxing a little bit, Muay Thai a little bit, but like nothing like crazy. I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I'm gonna get beat up by this kid, right? That was my head. So I was like super anxious, like on the ride to my dad's place. And then the first thing I said when I get to his place, like, hey, can you take me to jiu-jitsu tomorrow? You know, because I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was, kind of like this, like smaller guy against a big guy. I didn't know much, but like, mate, I need to do something, you know? So can you take me to jiu-jitsu tomorrow? I need to learn, you know, something. But I didn't tell him why. I just told him that I want to go. He was all happy. He was like, yeah, for sure. Come over, you know? And then I did my first class. And then I got hooked, man, because at this school that I went to, there were no like kids class, juniors class, nothing like that. It was like one big class, right? So it was like 13, you know, and I was like terrible at all the sports. It was really uncoordinated kids. You know, imagine like this like stereotype of like this kid that's like really like uncoordinated, doesn't know how to do anything. You know, was that kid? You know.
I don't know if I believe. Keep going.
What?
I don't know if I believe that, but keep going with that story.
No, yeah, I'll show you some pictures later. I'll show you some pictures later. You'll believe when you see the pictures. So it was like that kid, you know. And I trained with some guys that were like 17, 18, some guy that was like 20 years old. They were white belts too, you know. And I was able to like we do today, like the techniques from the beginning, then specific training afterwards. So I did a specific training, and my dad was walking me through stuff. And like probably the guys didn't go like crazy hard on me, but I was able to do the techniques and then sweep in a few times here and there. And then for me, man, that was just like a shock, you know, because I'm like, man, I always suck at every sport that I try to do. And now all of a sudden I can do something against this guy that's much bigger than me, you know? So man, I got like really like addicted right away. So I wanted to do like 2 times, 3 times a day, you know, went to all the classes, you know? And then that's how it started, you know? And I started training at all. And, you know, I didn't even get to fight the kid. When I get back to school, we didn't even end up fighting or anything like that. But I was feeling ready. I was going to get beat up still because I just had 2 weeks. But I was feeling ready, man. I was feeling ready, you know? So yeah, so that was it. And then that's how I started training, you know. I have to stop a few times here and there because of school, I was still a kid. But by the time I was like 15, I think, 2012. Yeah, it should be 15, a little bit like, or maybe over 15. I started training like consistently, you know, and then I never stopped ever since. So I've been training like for about 10 years on and off, you know, 10 years in July on and off, and then about 8 years consistently, you know. So yeah.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you moved here from Brazil, about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What were some of the big things you had to adjust to moving to the States?
Okay, it's a good question. So first thing, obviously, was my English. You know, I feel like this is a challenge for all the Brazilians or all immigrants really that move to the States and their native language not English. You know, I mean, I consider my English like okay, you know, pretty good for a Brazilian. You know, I did an English course in Brazil, and I learned like how to speak grammarly correctly. You know, and how to like make sentences. And I graduated the course. It took me like I don't know 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, to graduate the course. But you only actually learn how to speak properly when you come to the States, you know, when you like talk to Americans, you know. So I think that was the first thing, you know, even though I could communicate well and correctly for the most part, I felt that like, man, we're still missing something, you know. So I put a lot of energy on improving my English. So it gets to a point that it is today. I'm still not satisfied with it, but I feel it's much better when I got here. So that was the first challenge. Second challenge, man, is I think maintaining myself healthy. Not gonna lie, man, because things in the States, like food in the States, fast food, like snacks and all this stuff, is much cheaper than in Brazil, right? So if you to have an idea, if you go, I don't know, like a Kit Kat bar, for example, if you go, I don't know, to Safeway, you can get one for like $2, something like that, 150, whatever.
Yeah.
In Brazil, the exact same thing is like $12 in the currency there. You know what I mean? The exact same bar, you know? So it's kind of like you come to the States and you kind of like get overwhelmed because everything that you always wanted to buy and you could never buy all the time because it's like really expensive. Here it's so cheap, right? So, you know, when in my first year moving to the States, first year and a half, I got like super fat, out of shape. And I was training jiu-jitsu like 5, 6 times a week, but I was eating so much every day. I was not dieting at all. You know, and so that was my challenge. To focus now, I'm dieting, do everything right, and now I'm feeling much better now, right? So, and the third thing that I had to get used to was basically building myself from zero, really, because I came to US from Brazil, and I had like in Brazil, my life was like pretty much structured. You know, I went to school, I started college, and I lived with my mom's place at my mom's place. So it was just like I worked because I wanted like to be independent, have my own money, but I didn't have to work. You know what I mean? Like if I didn't work, if I decided like tell my mom like, hey, I don't want to work, I can't work this month. They're still gonna have food on my table. You know what I mean? They're still gonna have shelter. My bills are gonna be paid. Everything. You know, just maybe not have money for other stuff, but that's on me, you know. If when I move to the US, man, if I didn't make money, you know, I wouldn't have like food to eat, you know. That's on me, you know what I mean. If I want to spend all my money on like in and out on the first week, I wouldn't have like money to buy groceries, you know. So I have to be really responsible and like I have to mature really fast with that, you know. So I guess that was a big thing, and like of course, like starting to like buy stuff from zero, you know, like buy my car and like get some like bills and stuff that I like to get my phone bill and like get my phone set up and all this stuff, you know, like to start getting my life on track, you know. So but it was good, you know. It was a little challenge at the beginning, but it was good. It made me better for sure, you know. And today, thank God, because of that experience, I was able to bring my wife here to the States, you know. Now I have my own place with her, I have my own car, I have everything, you know. But on the beginning, was a challenge for sure. So I think those three main things, like um, uh, getting my English better, you know, uh, watching like my health, like my diet, the stuff that I eat, and everything, and building myself up, like getting like independence, really, you know. On the beginning, I think like the one of the reasons I got super fat is because, of course, there was mostly like 90% my fault because I wasn't disciplined enough, but it was tough too because like I didn't have a car to go anywhere I wanted to, right? I relied on other people's like vehicles, right? So I couldn't like just go to the grocery store whenever something was missing. I had to do eat whatever was home, and if it was not healthy food at home, that's what I had to eat, right? I couldn't go to the gym because I didn't have a car. The gym was like 2 miles away, so I could maybe walk, but then had this crazy busy schedule. You know what I mean? So that made it difficult, not impossible, but difficult. You know what I mean? So I guess when I started like having my own things, my car and all these things, you know, everything kind of like got a little better and went back on track, you know. So yeah.
And you know, so obviously you made a career out of jujitsu, and that's I mean that's kind of the path that you're going to take going forward. Was there ever a moment where it kind of dawned on you, or it kind of clicked in your head, like, man, I'm pretty good at this. Like I could like really just do jujitsu for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So it did, man. But it was right on the beginning, actually, around this first 2 weeks, because again, I got so excited that I was doing good on these first 2 weeks that I trained. Because again, it's hard to imagine, but imagine like a kid that was never good at anything. Like in soccer was terrible. I couldn't like kick the ball and run at the same time. You know what I mean? I couldn't like any sport that I played. I couldn't like catch the ball. I was dropping like things like that. You know, I was like trip. Like we were running, I would trip and fall on my face. Like I was really uncoordinated, really uncoordinated. And these first 2 weeks, man, I was able to do it and do it well. You know what I mean? At least on my standards, you know. So I'm like, man, I'm actually pretty good at this. Like thinking, right? I can be. I'm not good yet, but I can be pretty good. And I sucked, but in my head, I thought that I was good. That was like, okay, that's something that I want to do for my life. And back then, UFC was like huge in Brazil. Like Anderson Silva was on his prime, you know. I think Lyoto Machida had just won the light heavyweight belts. You know, had Jose Aldo, you know, I guess like coming up. So UFC was huge, you know. And so I'm like, in my head, I was like, man, that's like as high as I can get. You know what I mean? So my plan is to be like, okay, I'm gonna start training martial arts right now, jiu-jitsu right now. I did some boxing before, you know, and that's when I want to be a UFC champion by the time I grow up, you know. But and I kept that mindset until like and I trained a few times here on and off, you know. And there was a time that I stopped training jiu-jitsu because of school. Then instead of coming back to jiu-jitsu, I ended up coming back to Muay Thai school, and I trained with a guy that I think he's still in the UFC. He was Jose Aldo's Muay Thai coach, and he trained me Muay Thai too. So I'm like, okay, this guy's in the UFC already, so I'm going to be training some Muay Thai, some boxing with him, you know. So maybe that's my path. But then I just went back to jiu-jitsu right away, And then when I start training just jiu-jitsu like every day, man, I just, something in my head just clicked, like, man, I don't want to do like MMA anymore. I just want to do jiu-jitsu, and maybe in the future do MMA, but right now my thing is to do jiu-jitsu for the rest of my life. And then and that's it, you know. So I think that was the first moment, let's say. But when I won Brazilian Nationals at 17, was like, Brazilian Nationals the biggest tournament in Brazil, right? So, and the second biggest in the world. So when I won that, I was like, man, okay, I won Brazilian Nationals. I'm Brazilian Nationals champ, you know, so that's a big deal. So it's like kind of like my career started taking off from there. You know what I mean? Like everything, like first it was like making a decision that that's what I wanted to do with my life. And then, okay, I make the decision, start working for it, and then boom, I got my first big result, you know? So that's when I feel that my career really started, my professional career really started. And that's when I feel like, okay, these things are becoming true because I've been working for it, you know? So just got to keep following that path. So yeah, so that's what I felt like I could do this for the rest of my life, you know. And winning Brazilian National Shoot, they also gave me opportunity to be teaching classes, you know. My professor, my former, when I won Brazilian Nationals, he was like, okay, cool, man. Like now you won Brazilian Nationals, let's do this. You don't have to pay tuition at the gym anymore. You can stay here, train for free, but you got to teach some classes. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, cool. So I started teaching some of the classes there, and then he was like, okay, do this, do that, you know. I never done the ICP at the time, but he did it. So he was kind of like guiding me through the things that I should do, the way that I should show a technique, the times of like, okay, this time for technique, this time for specific training, you know. So he kind of like walked me through the steps, you know, and taught me how to teach a class, you know. So that's kind of like my instructor career started like right next to it too, you know. And that's like, okay, man, that's something that I love to do. That's something that I want to do for the rest of my life, to compete and to teach jiu-jitsu, you know. And then from there, it just kept getting better to the point I am today.
Nice. And I know that you're a brown belt and you're soon to get your black belt. So what are, you know, is there like what are some of the biggest things that you've learned along this journey?
Okay, that's a good question. I learned a lot, man. First thing was definitely my confidence, you know, like the way I speak, the way I like treat others, the way that I, you know, the way that they just behave, really, the way that I see life, really, you know, because like I said, I was not confident at all when I started training jiu-jitsu. I was like really low self-esteem, not confident, you know, didn't think that was good enough to do anything, you know. And then once I started training jiu-jitsu, you know, I got this experience that I got on the mats, like, okay, I'm able to train and like train with guys that are bigger and stronger than me, you know, so I'm able to be good at something. That gave me a confidence, like, okay, if I'm good at something, I can be good at anything, really. You know, I just gotta like put in the work, you know. So start becoming better at school, start becoming better with my relationship with my friends. I made a bunch of friends. After that, I had a few before, but I made a bunch of friends after that. You know, I was not like afraid of being of talking to people anymore, you know. So I guess like there was like, at least when I started, there was like the major thing, you know. One skill that I developed is this problem solving skill. That sometimes I didn't even think about it, you know. Most of it I didn't even think about it, was developing that, was kind of like unconsciously, but I did, you know. Jiu-jitsu, you're constantly solving problems, you're constantly like dealing with problems, like somebody does this crazy guard on you and you have to figure out something on how to escape, right? So that, again, there was something that used to happen to me all the time. And then whenever something in my personal life happened, I was like able to be like, okay, what's going on, you know, what's the issue, you know, why am I feeling this way, what can I do to fix it, you know. So, and this skill, it's great, you know. I never get like overwhelmed, or I often don't get overwhelmed by problems anymore. I can always find a way through it, you know, if I just stay calm and figure out the whys, things that happen, you know, and deal with it as they go, you know. So this is like something like major in my life too, you know. So yeah, confidence, problem solving skills, you know. Teaching classes also, you know, it just made me like be able to communicate in public better, you know, and develop this like leadership role, you know, in a way that you feel responsible for those people that you teach in the class. You know what I mean? So you're responsible if they're learning the techniques properly. You're responsible if you're teaching the best way you can, you know, so to make sure they get the best experience they can have. You're responsible about not just like the physical part of jiu-jitsu, but about the philosophical part of jiu-jitsu too. If they're like getting changed, they're getting their lives changed on the mats as well. If you're being a good example for them, you know, if they're gonna by then getting changed, they're gonna be able to improve their relationships just like you did, you know. So this relationship role that I developed teaching class, you know, I don't think I would develop any other way. If I just had a regular, was just like doing whatever and went to school, I might develop a little bit of it, but I guess like this persona, like this person that I am right now, this leader that I am right now with my students is much because of my experience teaching on the mats and like caring about them, you know, and that made me like a good leader, let's say, you know, and I don't think that would happen with any other career that I chose. That wouldn't be like, or wouldn't come as easy, let's say like this, you know, wouldn't be like as natural as it is right now. So yeah, I think that's the main change that I can figure right now on top of my head, you know. And of course, resilience too, because we lose a lot, you know. We lose a lot on the mat. Sometimes, you know, especially in the beginning, we lose much more than we win, right? But you can never give up, really. You know, there's no other choice, because I always used to think like this when I was like white belt, blue belt, was getting beat up all the time. I'm like, man, you want to have a career with martial arts, but even if I didn't, like, if things are not so good or bad, me training jiu-jitsu, imagine if I quit, things are going to get much worse. You know what I mean? Like, I just going to be this guy that has no fighting skills, you know, whatsoever. You know, I was going to be on the back of my head being frustrated because I gave up on something, on a dream that I wanted to do. But even if there wasn't a dream, for just a hobby, I was going to feel like, man, I gave up on this. You know, I was able to do good. I was not doing good for a while and I gave up, you know, like, you know, how would I carry on my life with that? You know, I wouldn't be able to maybe live with myself because of it, you know? So I always thought like that, like, man, okay, it's hard now. If I give up, it's going to be much worse. So just got to push through it. So giving up was never like an option for me. Stop training and this stuff, it was never an option for me, you know? And I had to learn to be resilient, because like, okay, if I'm not give up, I'm going to keep going. There's no like midterm. You do give up or you keep going, you know? So if things are hard to keep going, if I want to keep going, I have to find a way. You know what I mean? I had to build myself up and do it again and do it again and do it again. And basically this resilience, this like will that to get things done and to not stop, you know, I develop on the mats as well. And I use that for my personal life as well, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, and you know, some of the stuff that you talked about, it easily translates from jujitsu into life. So the problem-solving skills, I think a lot of people get stuck in the white belt mentality where anytime something happens to them, they just, you know, freak out, and
Yeah.
and you're much better if you're calm and you think through, like, all right, what's the one thing to do? Okay, get an underhook. All right, well, in real life, okay, what's the next step you can take? All right, so at least don't quit, right? Be resilient. All right,
Yeah.
moving forward, I'm not going to lose. So yeah, I've definitely found that there's a lot of kind of parallels, or jujitsu has definitely helped me in, you know, kind of regular life, just going through those things, being resilient and problem solving and that kind of stuff, for sure.
For sure, man. For sure. For sure. And I guess competing too, because when you go to compete, everybody wants to win, right? You're not gonna sign up to a tournament because you want to lose. You know, of course, you might have different goals there, but you always want to win. You know, and so I guess like fighting against another, it's not like it's not something like, how can I say that? It's not something that everyday people go to, right? It's not everybody. It's not like you're not gonna go to like a company and you're gonna go walk into the office and you're gonna like, okay, I'm gonna fight like this guy today. This doesn't happen, you know. It's just like jiu-jitsu people do that, and we do it often too, you know. So, and it's funny because there are a lot of things that happen in a fight that you cannot control. You know, like and I learned this a lot, and I applied this to my personal life as well. When you compete, you cannot control if your opponent's going to show up, how they're going to show up. If they're going to show up like in the best shape of their life, or if they're going to like go out on the night before and drink and they're going to be hangover and going to fight like shit. You cannot control that. You know what I mean? You cannot control how they're feeling, if they're going to make weight. You cannot control how much they train. You know, you cannot control any of these things. But what you can control is what you did, how much effort did you put into, what game are you bringing, you know, what strategy are you going to use, how much in shape you are, how good is your cardio, how good is your strength, how good is your jiu-jitsu, how much confident do you feel in your skills, you know what I mean? All these things you can control, you know? And also that's a skill. A lot of times, you know, you people in general, they tend to blame or think too much about outside circumstances, you know, what other people are doing, you know, what like let's say you're in an office and like in a company, you know, you want to get this promotion, you know, and you think about your coworkers. Oh, this guy is doing more than me. My boss like this guy's better. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, and you stop to, and you have no control over this stuff, but you have control over your attitude, like how much work I'm putting into my actual work, how's my work ethic, how much effort I'm putting into, how many hours I'm putting into, am I being proactive, am I doing the best I can every single day, you know what I mean? And with my years of competing, I learned a lot about that you cannot control anything that your opponents do. You gotta control, you can only control yourself and your actions, you know. And I take that to my life too. Like I said, it's walks hands with the problem solving thing. You know, it's just like stay calm, think about the things that you can control, make sure you're doing everything in your reach to get to the result that you want. You know, to get the result that you want. And what happens after, again, is not, you can even control the result, but if you do that, your chance of performing better and maybe winning are much higher for sure. So I take that to my personal life as well. I think that's one thing that I cannot like forget to mention, that focus on what you can control, not what you cannot control.
Yeah, and I think, you know, even if you just want to do jujitsu as a bit of a hobby, I think you should always compete at least once or twice.
Yeah,
Get that feeling, because, you know, even if you have like a day job, there's that feel, like, especially like your first fight, you're so amped up because like another dude's gonna try to choke you unconscious, right?
yeah,
Like, and then from there, like everything else seems like way easier.
yeah. It does. It does, man.
Much adrenaline than like that first time you step on the mats for your competition.
Yeah, it's a life changing experience for sure.
Yeah.
Life changing experience for sure.
All right, so you've obviously competed, you know, lots and lots of times. Do
Yeah.
you do you feel like a lot more calm before you're going into a tournament, into like a super fight or something like that, or do you feel that like nervous energy that a lot of us feel when we're getting into a tournament?
Yeah, I think I'm always gonna feel nervous. Always, always. If I don't feel nervous, there's something wrong. If I don't feel nervous, I don't care. Let's say like this. So if I don't feel nervous, I feel like, man, something's wrong. I don't care enough. I'm gonna be like, I'm not focused enough, you know? So you're always gonna feel nervous. So that's okay. You're always gonna feel like a little insecure. You're always gonna have this little battle with yourself, thinking about like battling these negative thoughts that come, like think that if you're good enough, that you're able to do this, and again, thinking about things that you cannot control, like your opponent and whatever. But with time and experience, you kind of learn not to freak out, because there's a difference between being nervous and freaking out. Freaking out is when you like imagine you're like a first white belt tournament and you're like crazy nervous and you're like sweating before the match starts and you're like, you know, you're like thinking a bunch of like a million things at the same time, and you cannot like focus on one thing only, and you shake hands and make grips, and your grips are shaking because you're so afraid of like letting go one grip because you don't know what's going to happen, you know, and that's freaking out, you know. And that doesn't happen to me very often. I'm not going to say never happens, but even when it happens, I'm able to control and stay calm. One thing that's pretty cool though is I have for pans, I have got in touch with this guy. He's a mental coach. His name is Sam. He's from Gracie Barra Blue Belt from the UK. He's been my mental coach. He's been helping me a lot with that, like this anxiety and insecurities before tournaments, you know. And because again, like I said, every athlete goes through this stuff. Sometimes you see me competing, any other guy competing, he looks so calm and everything. But we go through the same thing, all of us. You know what I mean? You always feel like nervous and insecure, and you always gotta like fight our demons too, you know. But again, one thing that happens now is I don't freak out anymore. I don't like, man, I'm so nervous. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I kind of like know myself enough and I've been through this sport like long enough to understand like the things that I'm going to think. So I'm already ready for them. I already have like this self-talk. And I feel that now I'm much more calmer, you know, and when I go to compete, I'm still nervous. I still don't want to make mistakes. I still don't want to mess things up, but I'm not like freaking out at all, you know? And again, like sometimes when you feel like too confident, not too confident, but like too calm and like not nervous at all, it's probably it's because the time you don't care enough, man. Or sometimes even if you care, if you don't feel the butterflies in your stomach, you're not focused enough, you know what I mean? You're not hyped up enough, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So yeah, so I still get nervous, man, 100%. Still get nervous, but I don't freak out anymore like I used to do when I was like white, yellow, blue belts, the beginning of the blue belt. That's for sure.
That's good. So you don't like start a competition or a fight with like hanging on to the guy's lapels like this and like you
Nah,
and then when you like at the end of the 5 minutes you throw up after at the end and like you're
nah.
you know,
No, not anymore, man. Not anymore. At the beginning, yes. At the beginning, yes. Not anymore, though. But it's funny. I was talking about that with my students this week. The adrenaline, man. You can do like a 5 minute round, 3 minute round. You can dominate the fight. Like there was this fight to win match that I dominated the fight. The last one that I did in January. You know, I dominated the fight. You know, I wasn't in danger at any moment. Maybe when the beginning when the guy took me off the stage, took me down off the stage. But then after that, I dominated the fight. He pulled guard, passed his guard twice, took his back, and then couldn't choke him out. He did a good defense, but I was there. So I wasn't like nervous anymore, you know, like crazy nervous. I was calm. I was always calm from the beginning to the end of the fight, but especially on the end when I was like winning by a lot, there was like the chance of me losing were much like were really low. I'm like, I wasn't nervous anymore. But still, because of the adrenaline, I still felt my forearm super sore. I still felt my body hurting from head to toes, you know, and I still feel the same pain. If I have one fight, one 5 minute match, or if I have, I don't know, like 5 fights in my division, open class, and it just like doesn't matter the number of fights that I have, doesn't matter who I fight against. If you're in a tournament, I'm gonna feel sore the next day, at least a little bit, you know, especially my forearm, my shoulders, my neck, you know, it's always that. So yeah, so even though I don't freak out, even though I'm not like this, like crazy, I still get super sore, man. I still feel tired after the match for sure, 100%.
all right, that's good to know because I'm like I don't know 7 or 8 competitions in something like that and I feel the same thing. So at least I'm in the right direction. Like
Yeah, yeah,
30 seconds, like when we lock up or whatever, like I still
yeah,
feel a bit of that and then I finally like kind of settle in. But
yeah.
it's good to know it happens to you too.
Yeah, it's because of the adrenaline, man. Because you don't want to make mistakes, you know, and you care a lot more than you can. Like even in the school, sometimes you care a lot and you don't want to make mistakes. But I don't know, man. It's just like the German environment. There's something about it that makes you like the pressure, maybe, and the adrenaline, and like I don't know, just something about it that you care maybe a little more, and this a little more makes you a little bit more like tired and sore afterwards, you know, because you're going giving 100%. But yeah, don't worry about it, man. You're doing the right thing. Don't worry about it.
So, is there anybody's game that you try to emulate or not copy, but you know what I mean? Like you like, hey, I want to roll like him.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So first, my professor Flavio Almeida, 100%. I feel that ever since I moved to Arizona, we kind of like had a similar like body types, strength level, and similar like games. You know, of course, he was much better than me when I started training. He still is much better than me, but when I start training, I'm like, okay, he likes takedowns, I like takedowns. He likes guard pass, I like guard pass. You know, so the things that we usually go to, they are kind of like similar. You know what I mean? So, and I learned a lot from him, like a lot. Like ever since I moved out here, my jiu-jitsu like got like a lot better, like really fast, and that's probably because that's 100% sure because of him. You know, he's like guiding me through and like teaching me moves, and and being there for me, giving me that attention, and like think, okay, this is gonna be good for you, this is not gonna be good. So I feel his jiu-jitsu, man, for sure inspires me a lot. His takedowns, for sure. All the takedowns that I know, basically, I learned from him. So my takedown game is good today is because of him, for sure, 100%. So his takedowns, his guard passes, and his vision of fighting, really, because the thing that I like the most about training with him is that he's not just like crazy pushing the pace of the time. He's really strategical too. He's like really smart. Okay, I'm gonna kill this grip because of this and that. I'm gonna move my hips this way because this and that. Sometimes I'm not even on the same place he is. I'm not even like thinking. He's thinking so far ahead of me, and he tells me, okay, I did this because this and that. Like, man, I didn't even see that you meant on the first place. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
There's also the one thing that that he helped me a lot is being smarter about my training, and not just like going porrada all the time, but like trying to be much smarter, So this is the guy that I definitely that I definitely get inspired a lot. I like Romulo Barral a lot. I guess like Romulo, man. He was like ever since I got like maybe my purple belt, he's the guy that I've been following since. Like his jiu-jitsu, his way of life, really. So I get really inspired by Romulo. I like a lot on the bottom. I like a lot to do like De La Riva spider guard and lasso guard. He has an amazing spider guard. So I get inspired a lot by Romulo too. So yeah, man, I have a few guys like Rodolfo Vieira. He's retired on jiu-jitsu now. He's on the UFC right now. But growing up, Rodolfo was like I was his number one fan, just like, man, watch videos of him and highlights of him every day. I wanted to pass the guard like him, I wanted to do like this crazy 30 underguard pass that he used to do. I wanted to be like Rodolfo too. So I guess, Flavio for sure, because we're on a daily basis, Romulo, Rodolfo Vieira is a guy that inspired a lot. Gabriel Arges too is a guy that, man, I feel that his guard is like amazing, and I feel like I really get inspired of his guard. He's 50-50, his overall bottom game, really, his back takes from everywhere, that's one thing that I've been working a lot lately, Felipe Pena, all these guys, so yeah, these are my main like inspirations to try to always like look up to them and maybe not emulate just the jiu-jitsu that they have, but their way of life, really. I think a lot of times when you go into comp class and you're training hard and you think like, man, I want to be a champion, but at the same time I want to give up, I'm super tired. I always had these guys on the back of my head like, man, these guys were there, they're black belt world champions, they made it, and then they wouldn't give up right now, they'll be doing an extra round. So why the hell are you thinking of giving up now? If you want to be on the same place as them, you gotta work, man. You cannot be like bullshitting, really. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So yeah, so these are the main guys, I think, that I can think of now.
So you mentioned your training a little bit, so let's talk about that. So, what does your training look like? Like, how many times a week do you roll?
Cool. So I basically train every day from Monday to Saturday, right? But there are levels to it, right? So the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are the competition classes. So all the athletes and the professors and like people they want to compete, really, they get together these competition classes. They're 2-hour classes. They go from 11 to 1 p.m. Okay. And again, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do that at GB Arcade. So we all get together. On the other days, and sometimes even Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I still train jiu-jitsu, but I train jiu-jitsu at my home school, which is GB Chandler right now. So I train with the students, I train with my training partners over there, and the training is still pretty tough because everybody there's tough. I had a bunch of higher belts, everybody there's tough. But of course, it's not like high level athletes training, so it's a little bit more mellow. It's more like, especially because it's like there's not the thing about competition training is not just rolling against good people. That's one part of it, but it's like exchanging information, drilling, learning new techniques, advanced moves. Once you get to a point like that, you're like high level, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, it's gonna be hard for you to learn like a brand new technique. Maybe once in a while you're gonna learn like a brand new technique, but most is like a detail here, grip here, the way you move your hips, like little things like that, and you keep exchanging information and making each other better. Put yourself on the spot, doing specific training and all this stuff. So rolling, like actual sparring, is just like a part of it, right? It's actually, in my opinion, is like maybe the least important part of competition class. Drilling and studying jiu-jitsu and specific training are much more important, But when I train with the guys at Chandler, I do the class, the advanced class, that Professor Paulo teaches, and I do specific training too. But it's mostly like, for me, it's mostly getting the rounds in, sparring, and train different bodies, trying new techniques out. So on comp class, mostly I try to learn new things and try to bring my A game. And then when I go to GB Chandler, I still bring my A game, but I also try new stuff. My beating bowl is not good. I try my beating bowl with these guys. My lapel guard is not so good yet. I try my lapel guard with them, So basically I train, again, like I said, Monday through Saturday, jiu-jitsu. Some days I do twice a day, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I train lighter at night, and then tougher, like competition class in the morning, and for jiu-jitsu is basically it. For strength and conditioning, I have my physical trainer, my strength and conditioning trainer. His name is Italo Villardo. He's really renowned in Brazil. He's probably like the best fighting specialist, strength and conditioning coach in Brazil right now. And he writes my programs, you know. So I just do 4 times a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Sometimes if I'm feeling like too hyped up, I go more days and I get away from the program a little bit, do extra stuff. He gets mad at me if I do that because like not supposed to do that, you know, gotta follow the program. But sometimes I just gotta do it, you know. I just feel like doing it and I just do it. It's a good mistake though, let's say. You know, it's better to do more than less. But anyway, and I just like strength and conditioning training 4 times a week. You know, it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So basically, that's my routine. Sunday, I try to rest. Don't do any jiu-jitsu at all. Sunday is my day off. I'm just like wanna like get away from the mats, do something else. I don't know. Right now, I'm trying to play basketball, and I suck at it. So it's a new challenge. So I've been trying like to play basketball and like play video games, go to the pool, chill with my wife, my family, and all this stuff. You know, get away from jiu-jitsu this one day so I can start again Monday morning, you know.
All
So
right.
yeah, that's basically my routine.
What does your strength and conditioning work look like? Like what kind of exercises are you doing, sets, reps, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so it depends a lot because the way we do is we do different cycles of training based on a target competition, right? So let's say I'm training for the World Championships, for example, let's say. And we're 3 months away, right? 2 months away from the World Championships. So I'm like, okay, from week number 1 to week number like 5, for example, we're gonna work, I don't know, resistance training. So he sets up the whole training in a way that they're like long sets, long reps, a big amount of reps, not so big weights, you know, and so I can train my resistance, you know. And then okay, this next phase we're gonna be doing like I did like this week, these last 2 weeks, isometric force strength training, you know. So for example, this week I did like bench, I did like 1 rep and I held for a second, did another rep, 2 seconds, 3 reps, 3 seconds, you know, all the way to 12 reps, did it like 45 on each side. So by the time I was like on 10, man, it sucked. Like I want to just drop that thing on my chest and like whatever, you know. But yeah, so I did that. And so it just depends on the part of training, you know. So we do everything. We do really like raw strength training, low. So a lot of play, a lot of weights, low reps, like 4 or 5 sets of each exercise. We do sometimes resistance training, so a lot of reps, a lot of sets, not so many sets, like 3 sets for a lot of reps, like 15, 20 reps, but a little bit less weight, isometric force, power, you know, so it just depends on the phase of the training. But basically what I do is just like classic lifting, like bench. I know the name is better in Portuguese. I'll try to translate as much as I can in English, but like bench, rows with the barbell, you know, like incline rows, I guess that's how you call it, right? Where you get the barbell, lean forward and do the rows, you know. So I know the name's better in Portuguese, my bad, man.
You're good.
And so I do like bench barbells, bench, incline and like rows. I do deadlifts a lot. You know, closed grip rows with a triangle. That's one that we often do. We do like cleans and jerks. I do cleans and jerks, front squat, back squat, you know, like really like old school stuff. There's nothing like too flashy about it. Like, I froze again, Eric. There you go. Now you're back.
All right, we're good.
Good, yeah. So we're really kind of like old school stuff. There's nothing like too flashy about the things that we do. We just we're not like jumping on boxes and stuff. I'm not like pushing like these like carts with weights. We just like really like focus on the fundamentals of lifting, really, you know. And with that would be like power, strength, resistance, and all these things. One thing that's really important with this guy that I do with my program is that I don't work anymore for aesthetics. Like I don't do hypertrophy training anymore. You know what I mean? It happens naturally with my training because I'm constantly breaking muscle and rebuilding, right? But it's not my goal. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna get like too big and too like muscular with my weight training, but I'm definitely gonna get stronger, definitely gonna get faster, definitely gonna get more agile, you know. And I guess that's the things that matter in a fight, really, you know. Looking big and looking like nice and big, it's good, but it's not your primary goal. You're not a model, you're a jiu-jitsu fighter, right? You want to be strong, you want to be fast, you know, you want to be able to perform. and that's what we do. So sometimes we don't work like minor muscle. Like I don't work biceps, triceps. Just sometimes we do, but most of the times I'm never gonna do like. Rarely I'm gonna do like bicep curls or like tricep extension, like exercise for like secondary muscles like that. We do like chest, and then I work my triceps as a secondary muscle on my chest workouts. You know what I mean? And my triceps still get tired, still gets activated. Of course, not as much in the hypertrophy training, but it's still there, you know. So I think that's the main mistake that people do nowadays. They don't hire a professional, man. Ever since I hired this guy, my whole life changed. First, he gave me more focus. Like I said in the beginning, I was not too focused on going to the gym. So I'm like, whatever. You know, I'm not going to go to the gym. But once I start paying for somebody, I'm like, man, I'm paying this guy. So I got to go. You know what I mean? If otherwise, what I'm paying him for, you know? And I did that in Brazil with a guy that has really similar like method, you know. But and this guy that I did in Brazil, he was a fan of this guy that I'm training right now. He was already like inspired by this guy. So I'm like, man, if the best of the best now, I gotta take advantage of this opportunity, you know. So I started like doing it, and man, it just made me so much better overall. You know, knowing that you're doing something with the best person you can do, and if you follow it, you're gonna get results because it's proven by results of other people, and you see yourself too. Is the best feeling you can get, you know. So I guess a lot of people, they just don't care too much about it. They just go to the gym, do random stuff, think I'm just working out and it's good. Man, being tired is completely different from being trained. You can get if I tell you like, man, Eric, go like climb up some hills, do like 20 sprints on a hill, you're gonna be dead by the end. Is that gonna make your jiu-jitsu better? Not at all. You know what I mean? So it's just like being tired doesn't mean that you're gonna be good. Going to the gym and like wearing yourself out, you know, and finish the train that and think that you accomplished something here, you might maybe get a little better, but it's not at all as good as it could be if you follow the right program with the right person, like telling you exactly what to do based on your competition calendar. That's for sure, you know. So having this guy by me was like game changer for sure.
Yeah, and I know you're doing a lot more recovery stuff now too, right?
Yes. So I partnered up with Rob Hilla. Rob Hilla, he has this company. It's called Alchemist Athletics, and so I partnered up with him. He's been helped me a lot with that, you know, because a lot of times, man, we just kind of like, since we are fighters, we have this nature of like we're tough people. We don't care, you know. I get hurt my finger, just tape it up and go train again. Hurt my shoulder, I'm just gonna do it again. I'm like that a lot. I know you're like that to everybody, really, that trains jiu-jitsu consistently. You know, they just don't care much if they get hurt. They just deal with it and do it because we're tough people, you know. And that's good. That's good to have that in you. But you gotta be careful with it, because sometimes if you don't take care of these injuries, they add up, or they evolve to something worse. And then you have no other choice. Surgery, time off the mats, you know. And then even though you're tough, okay, that's great, you're tough, but you're not training. So what's the point? You know what I mean? So it happens a lot. Like I have both my knees that are messed up. I need surgery on both my knees. Nothing like major. It's my meniscus, you know. And my doctor in Brazil, he said like, you can have surgery right now, or you can just keep doing like maintenance and physical therapy, you'll be fine. Because if you have surgery and you don't change your habits, which you won't do because you're still going to be training hard, you're probably going to have the same injury again. So there's no point on doing surgery now. So I'm like, okay. But I feel that if I had like access to somebody before the first time I got a little hurt and did this maintenance on my knee, I probably wouldn't have got to the point that it is now. You know what I mean? And thank God I don't have to stop training, but yeah, it could have, you know what I mean? So if I had like this like support before, it would definitely be different. You know?
All right. So Lucas, so you're doing some scraping. You said you're doing some cupping with some CBD lotion, kind of thing.
Yeah. So cupping, man, was major. I had this like bad injury on my back, my sciatic nerve. I couldn't like walk, man. It was just like if I walk like 5 minutes, or if I stand still for 5 minutes with so much pain, I had to sit down. You know what I mean? So it was just like crazy bad. And after I started seeing Rob, man, the cupping and the scraping made it much better. Now I barely feel any pain. I feel like tightness when I stretch. I feel tightness, which is normal, but I don't feel any pain at all. So these are the things that I do for recovery. I usually do, I try to do at least twice a week Epsom salt baths, you know. So before going to bed, You know, I put some Epsom salt in the bathtub and I do it. I feel that it helps. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think there's something like major, but it helps with two things. The Epsom salt helps, of course, but it helps with my sleep, and I sleep much better now. You know, so if by sleeping much better, I recover much more. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's something that was good for me too. You know, so yeah, I've been trying to get like either like a chest freezer or like a horse straw. That's how you say it, right? So to do ice baths, you know, I've been trying to get one. I might get one this month, you know. Let's see.
I've been contemplating that too. Like, should I get a freezer and do it? And dude, I hate cold water.
Yeah, I hate it too, man. I hate it too. I hate it like bad, but gotta do what you gotta do though. And every time I do ice baths, it definitely helps. I have people that told me like, "Hey, man, this stuff doesn't work. It's just like placebo, you know, just all in your mind and stuff." I'm like, man, I don't care if it makes me feel better the next day. I don't care if scientifically it works or not. If it works for me, it works for me, you know. So
Exactly, like 90% of it is in your mind. So as long as it works there.
yeah, if you believe that you recover and you feel better the next day, that's all it matters, you know. So yeah, and then recovery was major, man, because like it was really tight on my back, it was really tight on my upper back, on my lower back, on my hips for sure. And ever start seeing this guy, he helped me out a lot of that, you know. So every week I go after a long week of training, I'll beat up, I go with him, he fix me up, I walk out brand new, you know what I mean, ready for the next week. I haven't got hurt ever since, so that's pretty good. And I've been put in like some bad situations, I haven't got hurt. I think a lot of times injuries happen because of it too. Your muscle is so tight, it's so like tense that sometimes you just pull a muscle for no reason. Like maybe like a simple technique, you move in the way you feel your ribs, you feel your hips, you feel your hamstring, whatever. And probably because you not take care of yourself enough. So it helps with like injury maintenance and of course recovery, so I can be ready on the next day. So
Yeah,
that definitely helps.
for sure. So you mentioned when you moved to the States that you did a lot of in and out, which I don't blame you. It's delicious.
Yeah.
But what does your diet look like now?
Yeah, man. So, like when I decide to change again and to go back to focus, I had this diet with this nutritionist. Her name is Marina Belen. She used to sponsor me back in 2014 when I won Brazilian National. So I just kind of like went back to her diet, kind of with the same amount of food and the same things that she told me to eat, you know. And I was doing pretty good, you know. But now I hired this nutritionist from Brazil too. His name is John Saraiva, and he's been helping me out a lot of that. I'm still doing similar diet than what she was doing, but I'm not like the thing I like about him is not like crazy like closed-minded nutritionist. You know, he kind of like this is the thing that you like to eat, and he kind of like tries to fit it in the diet, you know. And I really like peanut butter, so my Achilles heel, the thing that went wrong on my diet was eating way too much peanut butter. And with this, I was thinking like, man, I gotta stop buying peanut butter, but I'm not happy if I don't eat peanut butter, you know. But with this guy, I can still eat peanut butter just at certain times of the day with certain amounts, you know. So that's been pretty good. But in the morning, usually I have like a tuna salad sandwich, you know, with like live mayo and tuna, or like scrambled eggs, whole wheat bread, you know. Before with her, I used to have like a banana, you know, with a little bit of peanut butter, chia seeds, and maca powder, right in the morning, you know. Sometimes I do it just as I woke up. Sometimes when I'm too busy, like teaching class and private classes, I fast until 10 a.m. and I just have breakfast at 10. You know what I mean? And I do that, and I go train, Jiu Jitsu afterwards, you know, at comp class. So I do that, go train. When I come back, protein shake, my regular like protein shake with creatine, you know, a little bit of honey, because honey helps your body absorb the creatine better. So a little bit of honey, protein shake, creatine, you know, and I have lunch. So I usually have rice, beans, broccoli, and either chicken or like steak or beef, you know. Sometimes I do sweet potatoes and the same like vegetable and the same protein. Or one thing that I finally found in this like Asian market is really popular in Brazil. In Brazil, we call aipim or mandioca. Here, I think you guys call yuca roots. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So we do that here, you know. So in Brazil, it's really, really popular, you know. So I've been eating that. It's just as good for you like sweet potatoes are, you know. So I do that, you know. That's about like 2 p.m. And then I in the afternoon I eat like a sandwich. Again, probably the same thing I had breakfast: scrambled eggs or tuna salad sandwich. And then if I go train after that, that's like my pre-meal train. You know, if not, I eat the sandwich. I don't train, you know, and then I just wait until I get home. And by night I have a little bit of carbs, maybe like yuca roots or a little bit of rice, but like barely nothing, you know. And some like salad, you know, and I put a lot of salad. Like I go to Walmart, I buy this $1 salad, it's like this big bag, and I eat one of them every time at dinner, you know, with a lot of chicken, a lot of protein, you know. And then before going to bed, like diet yogurt with peanut butter again, chia seeds and maca powder again, you know. So like kind of like with my new nutritionist, we testing some things out. So my diet's a little different than what I just told you right now, but like mostly that's mostly it, you know. So I try to eat healthy every day, you know. I try to stay away from like junk food and try to stay away from like, you know, like things that have too much grease and fat, and like, you know, I really try to have a balanced diet with carbs, but like low glycemic carbs, you know, like good carbs, and a lot of protein on every meal. So yeah, that's basically kind of my diet is, you know. A lot of times, man, you know what happened to me a lot of times is that I just gave myself a good excuse to eat in and out, to eat like pizza, or to eat whatever. I'm like, man, I trained so hard today. I deserve it. It's fine. It will be fine. You know what I mean? This has burgers. It's like steak. It has like, or beef. It has protein in it. It will be fine. The only bad thing about the burgers is the bread. So when I'm in and out, you get this really like protein style sandwich with lettuce on the outside, which I hated, but it's just like, because the bread is the problem. Man, the bread's not the problem. You know what I mean? The problem is like super fat burger with cheese and like fries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, or pizza, like I have friends that say, but pizza's fine. Pizza's just like cheese and like bread. It's like, man, I don't see it that way. You know what I mean? You're just giving yourself an excuse so you can sleep better at night and eat the pizza you want. You know what I mean? So just say that you want to eat the pizza. You don't care. It's better. It's okay. It's all good, you know? So I just try to stay as focused as I can on that, you know? Again, when I moved to the States, used to like eat prep every day. And then I started getting better, and just like sometimes during the week and weekends. And then it evolved to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then it evolved to Saturday and Sunday. And now it evolved to just Saturday. One meal on 1 or 2 meals on Saturday that I eat like whatever I want, and I even try to stay as healthy as I can. I don't eat sweets anymore. Back then when I moved here, I used to eat a lot of Nutella. It's been like a year and a half since I last ate Nutella. My last time I ate Nutella actually was against that black belt that I beat, you know, on Fight to Win. That was the last time I ate Nutella. Ever since then, I never ate Nutella anymore. And I don't miss it either, you know.
Again, man.
You what?
You should start eating Nutella again if you beat a black belt.
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. They were just to celebrate, bro. If I eat Nutella again, I know because I've been so long since I last had it. If I eat it again, I'm gonna eat the whole jar and I'm gonna be super fat again. So I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm good.
It sounds like you don't really do like a fight camp, right? It's just you basically you're kind of in shape and kind of following a pretty good diet the whole time, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of like what I do. You know, I feel I'm a big fan of like, man, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You know what I mean? And on camps is really good because it's not about the jiu-jitsu itself, in my opinion. It's more about the mentality, right? Having the mindset of everybody getting ready for that tournament. So nobody's like just messing around anymore. Nobody just like, whatever. Everybody's on a mission of getting ready, you know? So there's an energy that is different in a camp because you can feel the air in the room different. You can feel the energy in the room being different, you know? You kind of like, it's not like as friendly anymore. It's still friendly, but not like we're all on a mission. We're not here to mess around. You know what I mean? So I really like camps though. I really like camps. Like we did this amazing camp for Pan Ams. We increased the intensity of the training, you know, and it was really good. And I really like camps. But is gotta be careful so you don't just train on camps. You know what I mean? I guess like people that are like champions, they want to be champions at least. They gotta train hard regardless. They gotta have goals regardless. You gotta be ready regardless. You know, it's like if you see on basketball, the guys have the regular season and then they have the playoffs and then they have like summer break until the regular season starts again, right? If you see all these guys that are great, like Kobe, LeBron, like maybe not Iverson no, but like Kobe, LeBron, all these other guys, they did like this amazing work during the summer, maybe like a week after they won that ring, you know, and that's why they got it done again, because it's not because you don't have this like goal like close to you and everybody's working towards that. There's not an excuse for you to not to work to get it done. If you want to be the best you can be, you got to get it done every day, man. You know, so yeah, again, I'm this big fan of like you don't have to get ready, stay ready, you know. And but I like camps just because more the mindset and the training is good too, but more the mindset. Everybody is focused, so definitely can take a lot out from it.
Yeah. So any big fights coming up or big tournaments you're getting ready for?
I don't know, man. It's so the calendar is crazy with COVID, right? So I don't know yet. You know, it's stuff like they just announced they're gonna do the American Nationals in Dallas, and they're gonna do the Nationals. They might do Worlds, right? With massive Worlds, and this was a rumor that I heard of in when I was at Pan Am's in Orlando. You know, they're gonna do both Worlds. There are adults and masters over there. But in my opinion, I don't think Worlds is gonna happen because they told like, in November 10 we're gonna release like this note saying if it's gonna happen or not. The adult World just standing still. I don't think it's gonna happen though. I don't think nothing's gonna change until November 10. In a way that they're gonna open the United States borders so people from Brazil all over the world can come. You know, especially some places the kids are going up again in Europe and stuff like that. So I don't think this is gonna happen. So I don't think World is gonna happen, but I think Nationals definitely happen. Actually, I think the reason they put Nationals a week before Worlds is that if people cannot fight Worlds, they're gonna fight Nationals, the adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I think they put the reason. So I don't know, man. Ever since they released the Nationals yesterday, I'm like eager to sign up. You know, I wanted to sign up for Nationals. You know, they might be the last tournament of the year. That might be my last tournament as a brown belt too. You know, so I might do Nationals, you know, in Dallas. I have good friends in Dallas, so I have a place to stay and to train. So I might do that. But probably that's it for the year, you know. This year was good, man. For me, for some reasons, it was bad for others, but it was definitely like the year that I got a lot better in my jiu-jitsu, even though with COVID, you know. And but I'm excited for next year mostly, you know. I want to use the end of this year to get as good as I can get and focus more on like the process of getting better instead of the goal of specific tournament. So I want to get as good as I can get right now. So if next year I'm with a black belt, even still brown belts, we have a better calendar and I'm ready, you know. So I'm probably gonna do Nationals, not sure yet, but probably will do it, you know. And that's probably gonna be it, the last tournament of the year, you know. I'm probably gonna do Gi too, you know, and that's it. Call it, you know, call the year of that, you know. But yeah, that's like the main. I don't know if it's a goal, but probably that's going to be the next tournament. You know, my goal right now, like I said, is just fix my mistakes, get better at the things that I'm good at already. You know, get good at the things that I'm not so good at. You know, and get a little better for next year for sure.
Awesome. So what does the future hold for you? What are your 3-year, 5-year, kind of 10-year plans? What does it look like for you?
Cool. So I have a lot of plans, man. First year, I want to get my residence visa, my green card. You know, I think that's like all the immigrants that come to the States, that's what they want, you know. So that's like a big plan for me. I want to get my black belt for sure. I'm close, but I'm not there yet. So I'm still like anxious about it, you know. So I want to get my black belt. I wanna for sure be a world champion. You know, I feel that's what, if you're not training for like being the best in the world or being like, if you're an athlete enough, have that in mind. I don't know how serious you're taking your training, you know, your athlete career, because that's always the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? That's like the standard that you gotta meet. You know what I mean? You gotta always go for that. So that's like my goal for sure. What else? I want to have a Gracie Barra school to run a Gracie Barra school. You know, hopefully in Arizona. That's one of the goals that I have for the next like 3 or 5 years. You know, I want to be a head instructor of a school, and I keep doing the job that I do, but like having like a more of a leadership role. Um, what else? What else? I think that these are my 3 main goals, man. I think right now, you know, the other things, there are other little goals that I have with like tournaments, you know, want to keep competing and fight to win and like these big organizations, you know, possibly get a title shots. I want to keep fighting, competing, and getting as good as I can get on the high level of like brown, black belts. You know what I mean? But I also have this instructor career parallel to my athletic career that I want to be as good as I can be. You know, I want to have a Gracie Barra school packed with students and everybody's life being changed. You know, jiu-jitsu is much bigger than competition, really. You know about that. Everybody does know about that. You know, it's much bigger than competition. You come and have a kid that's been like I was, no confidence, and you change the kid's life for good, and it's gonna be like a much better human being, and a much better like adults on the end that's gonna give back to society. You know, that's priceless, man. You know, like these things that we do here, like the things that teaching jiu-jitsu is just like, you know, the reward that we get when we see somebody that had a bunch of health problems and lose a bunch of weight is much better shape now. Like you, for example, you know, you lost a bunch of weight. You was like waking up at like what time? Weight 432, something like that. You wake up.
Yeah.
For what?
428.
428, exactly. 428 in the morning every day to lift, man. I would never think when I saw the first time, I'm like, man, I would never think that you will be able to do that one day. You know, I would never imagine that. And now it's just like in great shape, working out, you know, and all these things. It's just like it's priceless, man. It's really rewarding, you know. So one day I want to have a Gracie Barra school that I'm able to change and impact in a positive way as many people as I can, kids and adults, you know, because I know this is not going to be just with them. It's going to improve their relationships. It's going to improve as they are as human beings, as they are as the role they play in the society, you know, and it's going to make the whole community better by it, you know. So I guess that's my way of changing the world. Really, you always have these dreams of like, man, I want to change the world. I want to be this guy that's going to change the world. And you always think, man, you got to be like president, or you got to be like Elon Musk, or whatever it is. You don't have to, man. You just got to be like, make sure you're changing people's lives around you for the better, you know. And one by one, these people are going to change other people's lives. Then when you see the whole community is better because of you, because of the work you do, you know. And that's why I chose to devote my life to jiu-jitsu, teaching and like competing, you know. And again, like I said, it's one of the goals that I want is just to be like the best instructor I can be for my students, you know. I have a Gracie Barra school on my own one day and be able to excel at that and make sure that everybody's lives are getting changed for the better.
Yeah, for sure, right? Because even, you know, at your school, you know, you have 200, 400, 500 students, whatever it is, but then they have 3, 4, 5 people that they interact with, and then those people interact with others. And so, yeah. Compounds for sure. So we're getting ready to wrap this up. So Lucas, if people want to come roll with you, or if they just want to, you know, follow you on Instagram or whatever, where can they find you?
Cool. So my Instagram is at LucasNoratGB. Okay, so it's easy. My name, my last name, and GB for Gracie Barra. You know, like I said, I train at Gracie Barra Chandler. It's located at the corner of Ray Road and McQueen in Chandler, Arizona. It's 1070 East Ray Roads. It's right next to the Dollar Tree store. Okay, so I'm there basically every day from Monday through Saturday, sometimes even Sunday. But like I said, I avoid Sundays because of my rest day. Also comp class, Gracie Barra Arcadia. I'm there 11 to 1 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know the Gracie Barra Arcadia address. I'm sorry, but it's Indian School and 32nd. You know, so that's basically it. You know, so if you guys want to come train with me, you know, private classes or anything really, you know, just follow me on Instagram, let me know, or show up to the Gracie Barra School, 1070 East Ray Roads, Chandler, Arizona. And it's going to be my pleasure to be with you guys.
Yeah, so for those of you watching on video, you can see how jacked Lucas is, and feel like getting beat up. Yes, please go roll with him because it will help me from getting beat up by him. So I'm okay with that.
I'll be nice. I promise. I'll be nice.
Sure, so awesome. Thanks for coming on, Lucas. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for the opportunity, brother. Have a great day, man.
Awesome. You too.